You guys are on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Generation Next, FPLA, and Young Life.
Pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Normal Community High School. It's homecoming Friday night here at NCHS as the Normal Community Ironmen take on the Urbana Tigers. The Ironmen coming off a 48-7 victory over Normal West in week number 2. Just setting the stage for you in the Big 12 Conference. Normal Community comes in 2-0. Peoria High tied with them at 2-0 in the conference. Bloomington is 1-0, and then Centennial, Normal West, Danville, and Richwoods all 1-1. Urbana comes in 0-2 on the 2024 season. Joel Swanson, Zach Knox Doyle bringing to the action here tonight from Dick Tharp Field. And Zach, it was an impressive performance by the Ironmen in week 2 against their big rival, the West Wildcats.
Yes, it was. Impressive to say the least. It's a 48-7 win, like you said, 435 total yards for the Ironmen, 251 of those rushing. They had 7 touchdowns and forced an interception. And it was just an explosive off the bat with 28 first-half points. They had 435 yards compared to West's 160. And a really impressive stat to me was they held West to 55 rushing yards on 25 attempts. And the week prior, West running back Cody Mulbauer had 350 yards. So 55 rushing yards was very impressive.
That certainly was, and almost held Mulbauer to 0 yards in the first half. Obviously, they keyed on him. It was effective. Boy, the defense for the Ironmen looked fast to the football a week ago.
Yeah, I know a big question coming into the season was, how is this defense going to be? Only returning 2 starters from last season. It was a big question mark, and they have been excellent. They gave up 12 points to Richwoods. One of the touchdowns, Marquand cramped up in the middle of a play, so we're not really sure how that one would have gone down. And the other one was a late second-half touchdown. Really great defense there. And then last week, 7 against West. I remember West had a third and goal at the 4-yard line, and they went for 3rd and 4th. No yardage gained.
Yeah, and you think about the game last week, it was 28-7 at half. You know, we talked to Coach Strangwitz this week. He wanted that margin actually to be a little bit bigger. West comes out, drives the field on a very nice drive, maybe their best drive of the game, all the way down. They've got 1st and goal. They changed quarterbacks, kind of go to more of a Wildcat package there, run package, and Normal Community stood tall. That was the ball game.
Yeah, and I talked to a few community players, and they said that in practice they had worked on, going against the Wildcats. So I think definitely all that preparation that Coach Strangwitz and Coach Messina and Coach Lowe gets them ready for is just very important, because if they hadn't practiced Wildcat in practice, it might have been a very, very different game.
So we saw a lot of Kyle Beatty last year, a lot of Marquand Gary. We saw that again right away against West. 2 early touchdowns, but Kalen Taylor seems to be a different player. We talked about that with Coach Strangwitz earlier this week, but he is a different player in 24 than he was in 23 and has really handled that running back position very nicely.
Yeah, Kalen Taylor almost had 2 around 190. He has 315 yards for the season. 271 of those are rushing yards, and that's in 2 games. 5 touchdowns in 2 games. He's replacing Tommy Davis very nicely, and I had a chance to talk to him this week, and he talked about how that position he was in last year behind Tommy Davis really helped him out quite a bit, and it's also comparable to how now he's the running back 1, and behind him is Cole Kretzinger, who has also been great. In 2 weeks, 150 rushing yards with a touchdown.
Yeah, and certainly a big win against West. Obviously, Normal Community has won 11 of the last 12 in the rivalry matchup. But Normal West is a quality opponent. That's a very good football program across town. And you really point at winning 11 out of 12 versus the Wildcats. That's an impressive run right now for the Ironmen.
Yeah, it's a team that they make the playoffs almost every year. They've been very successful lately under their new head coach. And this season, I'm expecting another very successful season, especially with their new running back in place. They're a young team. They're a fast team. And I think in years to come, they're going to be excellent.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if when it's all said and done, West is sitting at 7-2. Back in the 6A playoffs once again. They've been doing it year in and year out. Other scores from last Friday. Peoria High beat Peoria Notre Dame 46-40. That dropped Peoria Notre Dame to 0-2 in the conference. It's a little bit misleading, though. They've already played West. They've already played Peoria High. playoffs and off to a 2-0 start. Looks like they will. They knocked off U-High 41-38 was the final there. In the Battle of Champaign, Centennial knocked off Champaign Central 39-15. Richwoods knocked off Manual 15-6, the final there. And the team that Normal Community will take on tonight, the Urbana Tigers, were knocked off by Danville 51-6. So let's talk about tonight's game here. It is homecoming at Normal Community High School. Coach Drengwitz talked about all the distractions that come along with homecoming. So focus, I think, is the first thing that's probably going to be the key for the Ironmen.
Yeah, I think for the game in Urbana, there was a couple of things that Coach Drengwitz said, like about their offense. He said Urbana is much improved. He says he thinks they do some really good things on offense. They're very consistent, and formationally they're sound. They do have some pretty heavy tendencies, but their coaching staff is trying to put them in the best position to succeed. Then looking defensively, he says, I feel like they play really hard. They get off the ball. They're fast. They play a really good structured defense. So they're 0-2, but he said they're much improved from last season, which they ended up being 0-9 last season. So I think they have a lot of improvement, and community shouldn't underestimate them.
Yep, and certainly for Urbana, it's one step at a time right now. It's a team that gave up 62 points a game last year, only scored 5 points per game a year ago. So the margins were pretty heavy for the Tigers last year, trying to take some steps, not maybe thinking about, hey, we're going to try to win a varsity game. Obviously, that's the goal, but trying to have competitive football games has to be step number one for Urbana this year.
Right, and they had a lot of competitive football games like in their history. The program was established in 1908, and they were a historically winning program before like the last 20-ish years. They have 479 program wins, which is good for 50% of their games. And in the last 40 years, they did qualify for the playoffs 10 times, but they've only had one winning season in the last 19 years, so it's been a bit of a drought, with their last winning season being in 2012 when they actually faced Community and beat them 21-12. That's also the last time we've seen them beat Normal.
Curtis Blandon is the head coach for Urbana, trying to get things turned around here. They started off the season losing to Decatur St. Teresa 40-8. That was their opener, knocked off by the Bulldogs. And as I mentioned then, 51-6 to Danville a week ago. For Urbana, Normal Community is the toughest team probably on their schedule. So this is a tough one for the Tigers here tonight. For Urbana, they can get through that first quarter, still fairly close, probably one quarter at a time, and try to maybe win one quarter at a time has to be the goal maybe for the Tigers here tonight.
Yeah, and I think this week compared to next week is going to be a big difference for them. So this week they're taking on Community. Next week they go to Champaign Central. Champaign Central's 0-2 right now, 0-1 in conference, and they've lost games 13-42 each game. So I think that's definitely an opportunity for Urbana to be competitive.
Yeah, and maybe it starts here with a good outing here against Normal Community. Well, we had a chance to catch up with Coach Jason Drengwitz here earlier this week. Let's hear what Coach Drengwitz had to say.
Coach, coming off an impressive win, your overall impressions of the victory in week number 2?
Well, we're always obviously excited to be able to beat a quality team like Normal West, a crosstown rival at home in front of a huge crowd, great atmosphere, and against a coaching staff that we have a lot of respect for. So we're really excited about the win. I think it was a result of we had a really good week of practice. We prepared the right way. Number 2, I thought mentally we were really locked in and focused from the time we showed up for taping till the game started at 7 o'clock. And then additionally, I just felt offensively we were explosive and made big plays. And defensively, we did an outstanding job of running to the football, getting 9, 10, 11 hats to their running back, and just played really physical and really fast. I think things we got to clean up, too many penalties, post play penalties that we got to be better at. I got a penalty at halftime that can't happen. I got to keep my composure better, and I can't put our football team in a position where they're, we're giving them a short field by kicking off at the 25. But one of the things I was proud about that is we're short field kicking off. We do a great job covering. They drive the ball a little bit. We get a 4th down stop, and then we go 96 yards and 13 plays to score. I thought that was a real revealing point of the character and the type of team we have and the players we have in our coaching staff. So proud about a lot of things. Still got to get better in all three phases if we want to accomplish the goals that we've set for ourselves this year. But happy with the win, excited for our kids, excited for our student section, our school, our community.
It's 28-7 at half, and they do drive down inside the 10-yard line. Pivotal part of the game. They go to that Wildcat package. I'm sure that's something you had looked at and prepared your team for during the week.
Absolutely. I think we had, they show a little bit down when they get inside the 10 that they're going to try to load up the box and get it to their athletes and just try to push you off the ball. We prepared for it. And then I feel like our defensive guys executed it really, really well. And we kind of felt, too, like we could have been up by more than 28-7 at halftime. We really didn't handle the end of the half well. That's my fault, and then I get a penalty trying to get an explanation on why the clock continued to run. So, but really proud of our defensive guys. Again, proud of our coaches, just the way we were able to keep calm, keep our emotions in check, stay under control the whole game.
Sure, as you looked at the stats from the game, the rushing numbers jumped out at you. Difference in the ball game, your ability to be able to stop the run and run the ball effectively. Talk about what you liked in the rush game this week.
Well, I love in our run game that, first off, built into it, we have pass options. Like almost every run we have is some sort of RPO with the ability to spit the ball out to our guys in space. I thought our offensive line made huge improvements from week 1 to week 2, which is key. And then I thought Kalen Taylor ran the ball exceptionally hard and physical. And I think when you combined all three of those, it leads to being successful running the ball. And it's cliche, if you can run the ball and stop the run, your chances of being successful are really, really good. So proud of our offensive guys, our offensive coaches. Thought we did a really good job in the run game. Gabe Nege made his first start on the offensive line at right tackle, did an outstanding job. And Kyle, just his ability to operate and do what we do with all the different things we ask of him, is he's playing at a really high level. So
talk about Kalen a little bit and just the leap he has taken from junior year to senior year.
Well, he's just, he's been an amazing leader for us since June. Has been an outstanding captain. The way he's approached practice and workouts and how he treats his teammates and the way he goes about his business has just been so impressive, and really proud of him. And I think based on that preparation, how he practices, how he treats players, he's playing at an extremely high level, positive leader. Just really feel blessed to have him in our program. Feel blessed that he's a captain for us, and I think he's only going to continue to get better. And he's definitely been a catalyst for what we're doing on offense, but really just been a catalyst for our whole team, our whole program this year.
Looking back to that West game, their sophomore sensation, Cody Mulbauer, was coming off a 350-yard performance. And then how did the Iron hold him to around 50 yards, and how does that instill confidence in your defensive core?
Well, I'm going to repeat myself. I think, Coach Logue put an outstanding defensive game plan for us to try to stop that. We had a great week of practice defensively, stressing that we have to run to the football, get multiple hats, and get him down. And then 3, I just thought we played really, really hard, really, really fast and physical. Were there things to clean up technique-wise? Absolutely, we can control that, but I don't feel like we're having to coach effort or physicality. And if you can have a good week of practice, execute your game plan defensively, and play hard and physical, that's a good recipe to be successful, because we knew how good Cody was. We knew if we didn't get him down, he's talented enough, he's special, he can score from anywhere. And I feel like our guys took that to heart out of respect for him and how good he is, and he's only going to get better. He's going to be an outstanding player for the next 3 years. He'll be a special player in the Big 12, and a special player that we've seen. So
Yeah, last week.
We are back here at Normal Community High School getting ready for kickoff as Urbana's going to kick off to the Ironmen. And Zach, a little ink spot promotional here real quick before we get to this kickoff.
Yeah, if you like what you're hearing tonight, we'd love your support. There's a link to donate on our homepage in the bottom of every story on nchsinkspot.com. A little goes a long way, helping us enter contests, attend conventions, maintain and upgrade our equipment. We can't tell the stories of Normal Community without you.
And the Ink Spot keeps you up to date on everything that's happening at Normal Community High School. It's not just football, not just basketball. There's all sorts of things going on here on the school on Rab Road. The Ironmen now take the kickoff. They are into Urbana territory already, and they are going to return the opening kick all the way for an opening touchdown. Touchdown, Normal Community. And taking that one back the distance right there is Cole Kretzinger. He's got the opening 80-yard kick return. And Zach, 12 seconds, and the Ironmen are already on the board. Took 59 last week, 12 this week.
Well, I can tell you I wasn't expecting a touchdown in 12 seconds, but what an electric way for Community to start this game.
We do have a penalty flag on the play here, Zach. It's right around the 37-yard line, and we'll see what the call is from the official.
All right, the last time I did see a kickoff return from Community against Richwoods for a touchdown, it actually ended up getting pulled back because of penalty flag here, so let's see what they call.
And we got 2 penalties against the Ironmen, so that one will come back here. A Normal Community will have the football. I do believe it will be in their own territory here. They'll probably mark this back across the 50, and Normal Community will be 1st and 10. So Cole Kretzinger breaking a few blocks there. The official still marking this off here. They're at the 40. It looks like it's going to be all the way back at the 35. So that's where Normal Community will start. 1st and 10 here against Urbana. So it looked like they were going to get an 80-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, called back because of a penalty, and the Ironmen will have the football 1st and 10 at their own 35-yard line.
Well, it's probably a bit disappointing for the Ironmen, but still a really electric start, and I think that definitely instills confidence in the team.
Beatty now takes a high snap, and a roll out, dumps the football off, and going into Urbana territory that time, an 18-yard gain that time for the Ironmen. Jalen Smith able to pick up 18 yards and into Urbana territory.
Yeah, and we saw a leaping tackle there. I think that was by Ricky Smith. He jumped up and nearly took his head off there.
So 1st and 10 now for Normal Community. The ball at the Urbana 42-yard line. Just on our way here at Normal Community High School tonight. Beatty now back to pass, looking across the middle. He's got a man, fires it in the middle, and it's going to be a touchdown for the Ironmen. Turning with the football, Michael Mavick takes it in from 42 yards out, and Normal Community is on the board.
So I wouldn't say 12 seconds, but that took about 42 seconds. What a great play there. Excellent speed Mavick showed off. Just an excellent play.
Yeah, and you are going to see an Urbana team tonight that are playing a lot of underclassmen, lots of sophomores, number of freshmen on the roster. So going to be a little bit overmatched here by the talent of the Ironmen. On to kick the extra point now for Normal Community is Will Castro. Normal Community up 6-0 already. The extra point is up, and it is good. So Normal Community strikes first. 11:18 to go, first quarter, and the Ironmen take a 7-0 lead over Urbana. Well, Zach, it didn't take long for the Ironmen to strike, and they certainly put the ball right down the field in 2 plays.
No, it did not take long at all, and you can see the Ironmen being able to run the ball and throw the ball as they've done all season. They usually have about a 50-50 split in rushing yards and passing yards. You saw one play, about a 20-yard rush gain, and then the 40-yard touchdown there.
Well, Kyle Beatty 2 for 2, 60 yards on that particular drive, and Normal Community did not run the football a single time there on their first series. As we mentioned, Urbana, it has been a struggle over the last few years. Last win was back in 2019. That was October 4th of 2019, a 22-12 win over Champaign Centennial in that game. Urbana certainly trying to rebuild their program, and we'll see if they can try to hang around here against Normal Community, but a tough start for the Tigers.
Yeah, it's a tough start, but I think they're definitely used to some adversity in these games. They're used to being put in these situations, so I think Urbana's just ready to give it their all here on this kickoff return.
Now kicking it away now for the Ironmen is Castro. That one's going to hit inside the 5 and bounce in the end zone, so Urbana will take the touchback, and they will have their first possession of the game. Now, we didn't quite get through that entire interview with Coach Drengwitz we did earlier this week, but Zach, where can people find that interview if they'd like to watch it?
Yeah, you can find that interview on nchsthingspot.com. You can also find it on YouTube. And yeah, make sure to check it out. We do it every week. It's a really fun experience.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the Ink Spot covering everything Normal Community all the time. Had a great homecoming, a terrific assembly, and brought back the first parade that the Ironmen have done since they moved to the new Normal Community. Did that this afternoon. It has been a fantastic homecoming. The handoff in the backfield, and that was disrupted. I think the Ironmen might have the football. It was loose, and Normal Community does have the football as Urbana loses 5 yards there on first down. As, boy, the offensive line just couldn't keep the Ironmen out of the backfield, so there's a turnover by the Tigers.
Yeah, excellent defense there, just being ferocious, getting ready to jump on that ball right as it came through. That was just an excellent showcase of the Iron strength, their power, their size, and just a really exciting start to the game for the Ironmen. It has been 50 seconds played.
Yeah, 50 seconds in here, 11-10 to go. First quarter, and Normal Community's offense is back on the field. So Urbana goes nowhere on their drive. They turn it over, and you can see the struggle at the line of scrimmage there for the Tigers. Beatty back to pass, looking towards the end zone. That's off the hands of Ivo Austin that time. Couldn't quite haul it in. Austin had a nice game against Normal West last week. 2 catches for 43 yards and a touchdown. Just under 100 yards receiving on the year on 4 catches and a couple touchdowns for Ivo. Couldn't quite haul that one. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Ivo's a really big piece to this team, as we've already seen this year. As you said, Joel, 2 touchdowns on the season, and just expect many more from him this year. And I'm expecting definitely one today, but there will be a lot of different players to watch out for today. Community will be showcasing lots of talent.
High snap. Beatty picks it back up now, in trouble, and he's going to go down at the 30-yard line. Loss of 15 on the play off the bad snap. Urbana did a nice job covering that up. So the Ironmen will face now a 3rd down and 25 coming up for Normal Community. So the Ironmen saw a pretty easy touchdown on their first drive, had great field position off a fumble on their second drive, couldn't quite connect on their first play from scrimmage, and then a bad snap right there.
Yeah, it was a rough snap, and I actually saw the Ironmen working on their snaps in the pregame. I'm sure they'll be able to get that under control. We got a 3rd and 25 here.
3rd and 25 now as Beatty goes back to pass. Looking over the middle, he's got his man at the 5, and another Normal Community touchdown. The Ironmen in the end zone once again, and that one was Reed Hoover who hauls that one in from 30 yards out. So Michael Mavick gets a touchdown. Reed Hoover finds the end zone there, and Normal Community scores again. And with 10:16 to go here in the first quarter, the Ironmen lead 13-0.
Yeah, it seemed just like with the Michael Mavick touchdown, Reed seemed pretty wide open. There weren't a lot of players that were like in the position to tackle him, and it seemed like a pretty easy way to get into the end zone there, but great play by Hoover.
Yeah, you can just see the massive difference in size for the Normal Community players versus Urbana here. The extra point is up and good. And Zach, we kind of saw the same thing 2 times in a row. It's a catch over the middle. He's about 15 yards from the end zone and just breaking tackles and going the rest of the way. And it might just show right now just the size and athleticism that Normal Community might overwhelm Urbana with here this evening.
Yeah, it was actually kind of like a moment of deja vu. It looked a lot like the last play, and the formations were the same for Urbana on defense as well. And it really just looked incredibly similar. I think that's something Urbana's definitely going to have to change up throughout the course of this game.
Yeah, we're going to try to get some names and numbers here for the Tigers, as we had just kind of settled in with Urbana having the football, and the handoff went up the middle for the Tigers. Normal Community was in the backfield immediately. It came loose, and they fumbled the football. The Ironmen recovered. So we'll try to get some offensive names and numbers for you here for the Urbana Tigers. They come off a 51-6 loss to Danville a week ago, and in their opener, lost to Decatur St. Teresa by a final score of 40-8. Kickoff now taken by the Tigers back at the 20. It's going to be tackled right around the 22, able to hang on to the football that time. That was Christian Porter on the return for Urbana.
Yeah, keep an eye on Porter. He's just a sophomore, and the speed that he showcased there, he's definitely got some speed, and he was able to juke a couple community players out. Very impressive.
Yeah, there are some guys who have some talent on this Urbana roster, but I think right now a lot of that talent is sophomores and juniors that are just trying to get bigger and stronger to be able to compete against a team like Normal Community. Well, here we go. Urbana's got the football in that backfield right now is Sorrell Darrow Jr. for Urbana. It's an offset I formation here for the Tigers. They'll hand it off to the fullback, who's going to get a couple of yards up the middle. We'll try to get a name and a number on that young man down on the field, as he'll probably see a lot of action. It looked like 44 right there, had the tackle, and that is Brett Inman. He's got the first positive yardage for Urbana of the night.
Yeah, Inman's a junior, and one thing that I just noticed is there is one senior on the roster for Urbana. So this, like you said, is a very young team. I would say sophomores are probably the majority of their roster. Lots of freshmen, lots of juniors, and only one senior.
And that kind of is what happens when you're rebuilding a football program. Urbana went through a time where they did not have a varsity team here in recent years, so just trying to get things rebuilt. They've had some good teams in the past, as you mentioned, Zach, and trying to get back to the level of competitive football. Handoff goes up the middle. That's Sorrell Darrow Jr., and he's close to a first down. A pickup of 6 yards there on the carry.
Yeah, it seems like running the ball. He was also a junior, so you definitely have some experience there running the ball, and that's about when they started rebuilding. They forfeited the rest of their season in 2022. Last season they had their first full season, and this is their second year kind of rebuilding this program, and I think these junior running backs that are going to be back next year are going to be huge for them.
Yep, certainly, as Curtis Blandon, the head coach at Urbana, tries to resurrect this program here and bring it back in the Big 12. Brings up a 3rd down and 2. We'll see if Urbana can pick up a first down here. 8.5 to go here in the quarter. That is, again, Darrow Jr., and he's got a first down that time off the left side. Picks up about 7 yards, and that's a good sign for the Tigers, because if they can run the ball a little bit, Zach, that means that they can possess it. They can kind of work this clock a little bit and try to stay in the game, even though they already trail 14-0 with 8:20 to go in the first quarter.
And this is something we didn't see last week. Last week, Community was really able to shut down West's running game, and we expected the Cats to have a really successful run game with Mulbauer coming off that 350-yard performance. But today, we didn't really know a whole lot about this guy, and he's doing excellent. He's just very speedy, very shifty, and just a great start for the junior, Darrow Jr.
Now, Sorrell Darrow Jr., as looks like now it's Brett Inman is the lone back there, as now the Tigers are back to pass, rolling out, and he's going to be pulled down from behind. Let's get a name and a number there on the quarterback. That is number 11. That is Kyrie Hilsman, and he is brought down from behind. A loss of 6 that time as Hilsman tried to turn the corner.
Yeah, and Kellen Ogston was the one taking him down there, the 6'2", 235-pound junior with the sack.
Yeah, as Normal Community quickly flowing to the football right there, able to bring down the quarterback. And Zach, Coach Drengwitz had some things to say about Hilsman this week, and a good athlete.
Yeah, he did. He was very high on Hilsman. I'll find that quote here in a second, but he's very impressed with how athletic he is as a quarterback and how speedy he's able to be. And we saw it there. He kind of showcased his speed. Instead of a loss of 15, it was only a loss of 6.
And now we got the play clock has gone to 0, so this is going to cost Urbana 5 yards here. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 21 now coming up for the Tigers.
Yeah, Coach Stringwood said their quarterback is really athletic and talented. He can run and throw the football, and we can't let him get out and scramble because he does throw a nice ball on the run, as we've seen.
Yeah, we saw that. We're trying to get out of the pocket a second ago, so Hilsman will line up the Tigers here, and we've got another penalty flag, and I think it's going to be a false start now here against Urbana. So that'll move them back 5 more yards. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 26 now here for the Urbana Tigers. And Zach, not going the right direction here on this particular drive after a nice start with a first down.
Yeah, and if I'm Urbana, I'm starting to think about throwing the ball. We've seen them run the ball pretty successfully, and now I think it is time to see what Drengwitz is talking about with this quarterback, see what he's got in him.
Now back to pass is Hilsman. He's going to roll out, finds heavy pressure there, gets upfield. He's going to be drilled. I bet you that's A.J. Montoya, and
yes,
it is, as A.J. got his money's worth on that. Hilsman was able to scramble and pick up 4 yards as A.J. Montoya, one of the homecoming court members this year, and I do believe he won one of the competitions today.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, with the musical chairs,
Yep.
with the hula hoops, which actually was extremely competitive. So don't underestimate the ability to be able to win that contest today, but AJ showing what he can do on the football field.
Oh, it was very competitive. I heard that him and Reed Hoover kind of battled it out for that last musical chair, and in the second assembly we saw Gabe Nege get a little physical with people both using their football skills for the musical chairs. You know, you can use it whenever, I guess.
Well, after watching that hit, I think it was smart that Reed Hoover just let him have the hula hoop there at the end of that
I think
contest.
It was.
Here's a pass on the way. It's underneath. It's going to be caught that time. Catching the football there is Sorrell Darrow Jr. Gain of about 6 yards on the play. So Kyrie Hillsman, that's his first pass of the evening as Darrow Jr. was able to pick that one up. But short of a first down, it's going to bring up 4th down and about 13 yards coming up for the Tigers.
Yeah, so it is a 4th and 13 for the Tigers, but one thing that you really have to pay attention to is there were a lot of highs on that drive. There's a lot of things to look at for Urbana that were really successful. Running the ball, it looked really nice. And their quarterback, Hillsman, he's a junior. He's able to kind of move out of the pocket and be able to move around. So I think that's really important in a quarterback. A lot of their key players are juniors. I'm very excited to see what this team has in store for us today and next year.
Yeah, and certainly they're going to be building around some guys that will be back, and boy, continuity just makes such a huge difference. They'll be bigger, stronger, so on and so forth. Kalen Taylor from the 40. Kalen's got the 40 of Urbana. He's got the 30. He's got the 20. He will take it the distance. It is a touchdown for the Ironmen. A 60-yard punt return for a touchdown. A penalty flag did come in at the end. It's sitting right around the 17-yard line. We'll see what the call is from the official as Kalen Taylor takes it all the way in for a touchdown, and we'll see if this one is coming back. It came in late, so we'll see what the call is here. The touchdown might stand, but it's going to be a warning, a sideline warning against Normal Community. The official on the near side might have actually tripped over somebody or run into somebody over there that was a little too close to the field, but it's going to stand. A 60-yard punt return touchdown for Kalen Taylor, and Normal Community makes it 20-0 here in the first quarter.
Yeah, Taylor once again showing off his athletic ability and the speed that he has obtained over the offseason. He talked about a really hard offseason where he was really putting a lot of work in. Coach Drengwitz also talked about how successful he was in the offseason, and it's paying off with the 6th touchdown of the season.
The extra point is up, and it is good by Will Castro, and Normal Community leads 21-0 here with 4:14 to go in the first quarter. And obviously, Zach, Urbana is overmatched here tonight by Normal Community, but they continue to kind of develop these freshmen, sophomores, juniors. You mentioned the game against Champaign Central next week. The Maroons have struggled in recent years, so better things are on the horizon for the Urbana football program, and you can tell Coach Drengwitz did say, hey, this is an improved football team from a year ago and starting to make some strides, and it starts with those younger players.
Exactly, and it's very much improved from a year ago, because a year ago, if you looked at the team, that was their first time getting a full varsity season since the last year, and it was really a complete rebuild for the program. And now this year they're starting to get their feet under them a little bit. Still lots of juniors and sophomores, and I've been very impressed by Hillsman and Darrow Jr., the running back and the quarterback for this team. They're looking great.
Now, if you look at Urbana a year ago, they lost to Champaign Centennial 49-14 in their opener, dropped by Pure Notre Dame 70-0 in week 2. They did have a forfeit victory in week 3. That was against Peoria High. The Lions won the game rather handily, but they had to forfeit that game later in the year. And you see Urbana getting snowed under right around the 12-yard line, as it looked like Darrow Jr. again. Nope, excuse me, that was Christian Porter on the return. Just a sophomore and right around the 12-yard line. But continuing their season a year ago, lost 65-14 to Normal West, lost to Champaign Central 58-6, lost to U-High 73-6, to Community 66-0, lost to Manual 50-0, and Danville 71-0. So you can see it was a huge struggle for the Tigers last year. As we mentioned in the pregame a little bit early in the contest, right now it's just trying to play competitive football, getting some first downs, trying to see some success for their younger guys to stick with it in future years.
Yeah, and you talked about a lot of shutouts that they had to endure, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to get some points up on the board. They can really get this running game going.
Trying to turn the corner now is Darrow Jr., and he's going to be taken down. Going to be a loss of a couple of yards that time. And Darrow Jr., after that first down, and it was an impressive couple of plays for Urbana that netted them a first down on the last drive. He had 2 carries for 13. He's going to lose a couple of yards right there. Actually did get back to the line of scrimmage. We'll call it a 2nd down and 10 now coming up for the Tigers.
Yeah, and I think those 2 plays for 13 yards might have been a bit of a wake-up call for Community's defense. They played excellent against West in stopping their run game, and they come into this game maybe expecting a little bit less, and that causes Urbana to get off to this good start with the first down on offense and being able to run the ball well. And I think Community's starting to kind of see that they really need to hone in on that run game. That's something that Urbana does really well.
Now the play clock's going to run out of here on the Tigers once again. It's going to be a penalty here on Urbana, so delay of game on the Tigers. That's going to cost them 5. On the last drive that they had gotten that first down, and then it was a penalty, delay of game penalty. It was a procedural penalty. That really hurt them on that last drive. They actually had a couple of nice completions, so we'll see if they go to the air. Kyrie Hilsman is the quarterback for Urbana, and we'll see if they're going to throw the football a little bit here. Hilsman is a junior. Running the ball is Darrow Jr. again, trying to turn that corner. He's going to be knocked out of bounds, but a nice gain that time. Pickup of about 7 yards on the play there for Darrow Jr. That ball's all the way across the 15-yard line. They're going to mark it the 17, but we're going to have a penalty here against Urbana. Let's see what the official call is. But this one's going to be against the Tigers. Might be a hold, and that might be the reason there was such a nice hold that time. Nope, it's going to be a legal motion against Urbana. So 5-yard penalty against the Tigers, and we will repeat 2nd down.
Despite the illegal motion there, we saw another great run from Darrow Jr. I think he's really able to open up some opportunities for himself. You can see the offensive line starting to work pretty hard for him, but you also see all the opportunities he can create off of his speed and his capability to he likes to go around the Community defense and then really just pick up his speed.
And sometimes when you're rebuilding a program, it's not necessarily the skill kids, the wide receivers and the quarterback and the running back. It's getting your offensive and defensive line together. That's where football games are won and lost, and that can be really, really difficult when you're rebuilding a program to create solid lines on both sides of the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 20 now here for the Tigers. Hilsman back to pass. He's got trouble in the end zone. He's going to throw this one away. Good decision. Boy, he took a hit from A.J. Montoya there at the end of that throw. Threw that one out of bounds, and it's going to bring up a 3rd down and 20 here for the Tigers.
Yeah, you could see Montoya struggling there for a second to get through the line, and once he broke through, he was just ready to go right at him, looking for a sack there, but very smart decision there from Hilsman being able to throw that away.
So 3rd down, and we'll call it 19. That's what's on the scoreboard right now. 2:23 to go here in the first quarter. It's homecoming week here at Normal Community High School. We've had a wonderful week at the high school. As I mentioned earlier, we had a couple of assemblies today. Really nice parade. First parade we've had at the new school, if we can call it the new school now, Zach, in 21 years. But at the new Normal Community High School, it was just a terrific day to be an Ironman today. And here's a handoff up the middle, and I do believe that was Inman that got the football right there, and just lucky to stay out of the end zone there for a safety. I think he might have lost a yard on the play.
Yeah, it looks like he lost a yard, but they avoided the safety there. We'll see how this kickoff goes for Urbana. This will be really important for him to be able to get that off his foot, and it'll be really important for the line to hold off Community.
So 4th down and 20 now here as Kalen Taylor is going to be standing at the Urbana 30, and that's never a good sign when the other punt returner is standing at your own 30-yard line. But Urbana will punt this one away. And you can see for the Tigers, it's not just always personnel issues, but when you're playing a lot of young players, you're throwing a lot of formations at them, a lot of new stuff at them. You're going to see things like we've seen in the first half with some procedural penalties, delay of game penalties. All of that comes with a young football team, and that's what the Tigers are experiencing right now as they do get the kick away. Taylor catches it at the 30. He's got the 20. Kalen Taylor's got the 10. It's going to be a second punt touchdown for it is going to be a touchdown for the Ironmen. Second time tonight. Kalen Taylor returns another punt for a touchdown. This one comes back 30 yards, and Normal Community leads 27-0 as Taylor punches it in for the second time on a punt return. And Zach, we might have to look back in Normal Community history and the last time that a player had 2 punt returns for touchdowns in a quarter. That is a rare thing and might be the first time that's happened in program history.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it is. And Joel, there's still a minute 30 on the clock. you never know.
Calling for 3.
You never know.
Yeah, Kalen Taylor's night is going to be pretty short here this evening as Coach Drengwitz is going to have the luxury of getting a lot of guys who work awfully hard, a lot of playing time here tonight as they lead 27-0. As Will Castro is going to knock through the extra point here to make it 28-0 in favor of Normal Community. 1:29 to go in the first quarter. In case you're wondering about the rules of a running clock, that does not start until the second half, so it has to be beyond halftime for the running clock to begin. And obviously, there's some good things and bad things. The nice thing about the running clock is you avoid injuries. Also, a team that is obviously overwhelmed, the game is going to end sooner. The negative about the running clock, sometimes you have a program like Normal Community, you have a nice lead, it gives you a chance to get some guys some playing time that haven't seen a lot of playing time so far this year in some of those positions, and guys that have really earned time on the field. It does kind of shrink that down a little bit, but we probably will see a running clock at some point in this contest.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Community starts getting some players out maybe before halftime, before it's the running clock. It's a 4-touchdown lead. The first quarter still has a minute 30 to go. So we'll see when Community starts kind of putting in those reserves and those players that put in so much hard work but don't always see the time under the lights.
Now Will Castro kicks this one away. This is going to be returned this time by the Tigers inside the 20. Cuts it up close to the 25-30, and he'll be knocked out of bounds right there, as on the return was, I do believe that was Darrow Jr. again for Urbana. And one of the things that the Ironmen really want to avoid is any sort of injury here this evening. It was actually something they couldn't avoid a year ago against Urbana. So hopefully they'll be able to come out of this game totally with a clean sheet on the injury front.
Yeah, injuries are something that can definitely take a program down, and the Ironmen have been very fortunate this season to really avoid a lot of injuries. There have only been a few minor ones for the year as a whole, and no starters have really gotten injured yet, so that's very big for NCHS.
A 10-yard holding penalty against the Tigers now will make it 1st and 10 from their own 13-yard line, as Urbana was able to generate a first down on their second drive of the contest. We'll see if they can do that again right here. 1:22 to go in the first quarter. Normal Community leads Urbana 28-0. Hillsman with a nice pitch and catch that time for a 6-yard gain. That one off the left side. We'll try to pick up a number of the Tiger down there on the field that hauled that one in. They were able to get that pass off very quickly.
I'm not able to see the number here, but that was a very impressive catch there.
Yes, certainly was, as Braxton was able to get the catch that time. That was Melvin Braxton, the sophomore, who was able to haul that one in. So a gain of 6 that time for Urbana. Hillsman is actually 2 for 3 for 12 yards, so a good completion percentage so far. And this is probably the best second down position that Urbana's been in so far in the game. Hillsman back to pass. He's got heavy pressure. That ball is overthrown that time. But again, showed a pretty good arm, as looking for Darrow Jr. on the near side, overthrew him. And Zach showed the arm strength that time, as he had a heavy rush coming from the left side of that defensive line for Normal Community. He was able to get that ball out of bounds.
That's exactly what Coach Drengwitz told us. He told us that he was able to throw it off of the run, as we saw right there. He was really able to get a lot of power as he's getting chased by a whole entire defensive line from Community. He was able to throw that and actually overthrow Darrow Jr. there. I think it's really good. He does have a couple wide receivers that he definitely has shown some trust in. You know, you have Melvin Braxton there who made a great catch, and Darrow Jr. as well has been his #1 target for running the ball and passing it.
Tigers have a 3rd and 6 now. Hillsman back to pass. He's going to have a first down and more. He's heading out of bounds right around the 25-yard line, and you could see the speed right there. He's able to pick up 6 yards on the play and get an Urbana first down. With the defensive end on the right side for Normal Community, he was in that backfield really quickly. Hillsman did a really nice job eluding him, able to get upfield and pick up a first down that time for the Tigers.
And I can also say another thing from Urbana that's been quite impressive is I think their offensive line is actually, you can even see them improving as the game's progressed, and they've been able to give the running game a little bit more time, and I think that's something that they'll definitely be able to improve on just with more practice.
Yeah, Hillsman under pressure right there, able to get that throw away. It's A.J. Montoya again who comes in with the pressure, and Hillsman throws that one away, so it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 now for the Tigers. Now, one of the things for Urbana is we're down to 20 seconds to go here in the first quarter. When you're going to have a hard time against Community running the ball between the tackles at all. So you're going to have to find some other ways to be able to move the football, and that does make it difficult for them to be able to sustain drives.
Yeah, I have found that very important. It has seemed like the running game is really working quite well for them, but if you just do that over and over and over again, Community is going to find a way to exploit that. So seems like they're trying to expand their offense and look at all the options they have, which I think is really important.
28-0 Normal Community, 20 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Hillsman dumps it off for Darrow Jr. Looked like he slipped that time after a gain of 2. That's going to bring up a 3rd down and 8 now for Urbana. The ball right around the Tigers' 27-yard line.
And it looks like we're going to get to the end of the first quarter here as the clock just hit 0. You know, in the first quarter of last game, it was 14-7. Community was up. It was looking like it could be quite a close game, but Community was able to break through in that matchup right here. 28-0 after the first half. Community's offense is really, well, the offense has gotten 2 touchdowns. Kalen Taylor's gotten 2 off the kickoff return, so we really haven't seen a whole lot from Community's offense.
Yeah, we really haven't seen him on the field very much, and really Normal Community's offense has been a couple passes into the center of the field, a couple broken tackles, and the end zone is right there. That's really been the offense for Normal Community so far, and Kalen Taylor has returned 2 punts for a touchdown here so far in the first half. Well, Zach, let's hear a little bit more about the Ink Spot once again and what folks can do to help out the Ink Spot here over the next few weeks. Spot we'll cover during the year.
Yeah, make sure to check out our versatile content. So you've talked a lot about like stuff within the school, but we have entertainment stories. We had a review of the blockbuster Alien Romulus written by Bryce Hickman. We obviously have lots of seasonal sports coverage right now: soccer, volleyball, cross country, football. There's many articles in the works, including 2 riveting ranking stories featuring Snoop Dogg and the ever-popular video game Sims, written by Carter Hall and Lyra Townsend, respectively. The Ink Spot just received the prestigious Gallup Award for Journalism Excellence from the Quill and Scroll International Honorary Society for High School Journalists. That was just published as well. Make sure to check out our content. We love covering sports, but we love covering entertainment as well.
Absolutely, and covering Normal Community and the world around it. Hillsman's pass over the middle is incomplete. It brings up a 4th down and 8 coming up here for the Tigers. For Normal Community, Zach, they're going to hit the road after tonight. 3 straight road games coming up, and they'll have 2 of the last 3 at home then to end the 2024 regular season. Normal Community will definitely be a playoff team again here in 2024, and whether there's a home game, that's wait to be seen. But Urbana punts it away as Kalen Taylor takes it at the 50. He's got the 40, and finally Urbana's going to bring him down at the 40-yard line. So a 15-yard return for Kalen Taylor. 1st and 10 for the Ironmen at the Urbana 40-yard line. And Kyle Beatty hasn't been on the field for a while, Zach, as he saw a couple punts come back for touchdowns. And now the senior quarterback's going to find himself on the field.
Yeah, and it looked like Kalen Taylor was looking to make it so Kyle Beatty wouldn't have to see any time again looking for that third kickoff return. But number 57 for Urbana, he has a lot of size. CJ Blandon did a great job taking him down with the help of junior Devon Thornton on that tackle there. So I think that was really excellent job by Urbana being able to track down Taylor, take him down at about the 40-yard line, only gaining about 15 yards.
Now we've seen another Beatty on the field quite a bit the first couple weeks. Lucas Beatty, as Kalen Taylor now on the left side. He's got the 30. Kalen looking for the 25. He's got it. He's got the 20. 15. He'll be knocked out of bounds right around the 17-yard line. And that's going to be a gain of 23 yards there for Kalen Taylor. And it's actually kind of funny. We're in the second quarter. That was Kalen's first actual carry of the football from scrimmage.
That is very shocking, as he had about 160 rushing yards against West. And you're right, he's had 2 touchdowns, but that is his first carry. Something, if you told me, oh yeah, Kalen's carrying it for the first time in the second quarter, I would be very shocked.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you might look at his first quarter and say, hey, no carries. He must have had a pretty poor quarter, but 2 punt returns for touchdowns for Kalen. This is going to be a Michael Mavick. Oh, I thought that was going to be an easy touchdown, and Kyle Beatty just overthrew him. I was going to say that's going to be a touchdown because Michael Mavick was literally in the corner of the end zone by himself. There was nobody from Urbana within 15 yards of him, and that would have been an easy touchdown, but Kyle Beatty threw that one over his head just by a little bit. It's going to be a holding penalty here against Normal Community, so back this one up. Back to the 27-yard line. 11:29 to go before halftime. It's been all Ironmen here so far. They lead Urbana 28-0. A touchdown from Reed Hoover in the first quarter. A touchdown from Michael Mavick. Hoover's was from 30 yards out, Mavick from 42 yards out, and 2 punt returns by Kalen Taylor, one from 60 and one from 30, the 4 scores for the Ironmen. Ball comes out now to the near side here, breaking a tackle, cutting it back in, and Jalen Smith will find the end zone. Touchdown, Normal Community. The 5'10 junior Jalen Smith on the pitch and catch right there, and a 27-yard touchdown pass from Kyle Beatty to Jalen Smith, and another touchdown for Normal Community as Smith has his second catch of the night for 41 yards. Beatty's 3rd touchdown pass of the evening. He now has 9 touchdown passes for the season, and Normal Community goes up 34-0. 11:21 to go here in the second quarter.
And that is Smith's 2nd touchdown on the season. He's a junior. He will see lots of time next season and is showcased in this performance.
As the extra point is up, and it is good. 35-0 now as Normal Community adds to the lead. 11:21 to go here in the second quarter. And Zach, if Normal Community didn't score on the pass from Beatty to Mavick, a little swing pass that time out to Jalen Smith. Good blocking downfield, but once again you can see the Tigers just a little bit overwhelmed as the wide receivers for Normal Community getting great blocks down the field and once again finding the end zone.
Yeah, it seems like offensively the Tigers have looked a lot stronger than they have on the defensive side, because we're used to seeing lots of struggle from teams on the offensive side. Community just has such a big and strong defensive line, able to usually shut down that running game. So we're used to seeing that, but the offense has really just been rolling for Community, including the special teams with those 2 kickoff returns. So I think Community's definitely, I think they were definitely expecting this, but also defensively, I think they're playing a little harder than they might have anticipated. You know, Urbana's looking really strong running the ball and throwing the ball effectively. Their quarterback, Hillsman, has been very effective throwing the ball as well.
Yeah, he certainly has, as right now 3 out of 7, just 14 yards, but understand as well he's under a very heavy pass rush, having a hard time being able to set his feet to really get some good throws off. So he's done a nice job with what he's been able to work with here so far in this first half. Will Castro will kick this one away, and this one will not find the end zone as Darrow Jr. is going to return it to the far side and ran out of bounds that time right around the 18-yard line. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers there.
Yeah, Darrow Jr. seems to just have a tank that doesn't really stop. His speed hasn't decreased as the games progress, and he's also just seen a lot of time. He's getting those kickoff returns. He's ran for a couple times. He's also received a few balls. He's doing a bit of everything here.
Now Urbana will start at their own 17-yard line. 11:16 to go here in this first half. A good homecoming crowd here at Normal Community High School tonight. As welcoming back a lot of graduates here for homecoming here in 2024. Now let's see if Urbana can put together another first down. They had one on their second drive. We have not seen one since, and that's Inman up the middle. And well, he runs into that Normal Community defensive line. I think he got back to the line of scrimmage, Zach, but not a whole lot more. It'll be really interesting to see how Coach Dringwitz now will start to think about maybe subbing some other players in there here as the half goes along. You have to remember the Ironmen have a big game against Kankakee coming up next week, so you got to make sure that the starters get enough time to get in the flow of the game. You don't want to almost feel like you took a week off here. Got to get them ready for next week. Many people think might be Normal Community's toughest game of the season in the regular season anyways.
Yeah, and I love polls. I love rankings. So the AP poll just came out. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But Kankakee is ranked number 3 among 6A teams, Community number 8 among 7A teams. That is a circle game. Should be a great one.
That certainly is. And here's a handoff up the middle, and that one is swallowed up there as looked like Kellen Ogston coming off the right side was able to make the tackle. Darrow Jr. tried to bounce that out, but it'll be a loss of 5. And this does happen a little bit sometimes when you're overwhelmed. Even as the game goes on, you start getting a little bit more tired, and that physical nature can overwhelm you even more as the game goes along.
Yeah, and he talks about that Ogston there. He's done a great job in this game. We saw a sack from him, great tackle there. He's playing with a lot of intensity, and he's definitely looking like a force to be reckoned with on that defensive end of the ball.
So in a second here, we'll just jump into that 6A poll for just a second, because it's an interesting 6A poll in that when you look at the top of it, I don't believe that East St. Louis is ranked number 1 in Class 6A right now. As here is a turnover, interception, touchdown goes back the other way. Xavion Lashley is going to take it in that time. It's a 21-yard touchdown return, and the Ironmen are on the board again as Lashley caught it at the 21. Nobody between him and the goal line, and it's another touchdown for Normal Community, and the Ironmen pouring it on. 41-0 now with 9:26 to go here in the second quarter, and Xavion Lashley finds the end zone.
Yeah, last year featured a pretty commanding victory for the Ironmen as well as they took down Urbana 66-0. We're in the second quarter with 9:26 left, and as that kick is up and good, it is now 42-0 for the Ironmen.
Yeah, 42-0 now, the score in favor of Normal Community. So an interception that time by Hillsman comes back for a touchdown, and let's get back to our conversation about the 6A poll. It's an interesting one. East St. Louis has beaten Loyola already this year. They beat a team from Newton, Georgia, who's outstanding, and they find themselves number 2 in Class 6A.
Yeah, I found that really interesting as well. Loyola just coming off of that 8A championship, and East St. Louis were the runners-up, I believe, in 6A.
Yeah, to the team that's number 1.
Yep, and the team that's number 1 is Cary Grove. They got 74 votes, and it's very slim because East St. Louis got 72 at number 2. Then number 3 would be Kankakee with 63 votes as well, so they're definitely in there. Number 4 is Geneva, followed by Oak Park, Libertyville, Lake Forest, Simeon, which Derek Rose played for them, Belvedere
Yes,
North,
he did.
and Dunlap. Sorry, a little bit of basketball getting in the way there.
Derek Rose graduated from Simeon back in 2007, so it's been a little while, and he played for the Wolverines as Urbana now will run it back to the 19-yard line. That's where the Tigers will have it 1st and 10, but East St. Louis has pretty much rolled over everybody in 6A the last 4 years, except for Cary Grove. That's been their nemesis. 2 state championship games against the Cary Grove Trojans, and East St. Louis has been 0-2 in those games, but the Flyers take on all comers. I saw them 2 weeks ago in that game against Loyola, and boy, they looked really, really good. So they're going to be a tough out in Class 6A this year.
Yeah, and I was able to catch the matchup against Cary Grove in the state championship, and that game was 23-20. Cary Grove, just an excellent performance on both sides. A very entertaining game.
Yeah, certainly was, and that was the 6A state championship game as Hillsman back to pass. It's going to be incomplete right there. And after throwing the interception a moment ago, that one well underthrown. And it's going to bring up a second down and 10 here. We're going to try to take a real good look at that Normal Community defense. Justin Curtis is now on the line, the 6'1 senior for the Ironmen. It looks like now they are subbing here quite a bit. We'll try to get all those names and numbers for you here for Normal Community and get all those guys that have now come into the game. Brady Wolf is on the line as well, the 6'3", 230-pound junior right now, playing that defensive tackle in the middle of the defense.
Yeah, he also plays tight end on offense. We'll see a lot of him next year for sure.
Absolutely. Gavin Sheeler, the senior, getting a lot of time there right now. Justin Curtis just about had a sack from the backside. We saw Justin get a sack last week and bringing down the quarterback from the backside. It's going to bring up a third down and 10. See if we can pick up a couple more numbers of guys that are out there for Normal Community. As number 17 on the field is Micah Drengwitz. Micah plays defensive back there for the Ironmen. 26 is T.J. Scott, the 5'10 senior out there in that defensive backfield for Normal Community as well. We'll get some other names and numbers on the defensive side of the football here as we go through this possession. 17 for the Ironmen. Again, Micah Drengwitz out on the field for Normal Community.
And we also have Jaden Campbell there, who also plays a little bit of running back as well. We saw him week 1 against Rich Woods, picked up 21 rushing yards.
Now we've seen him on the offensive side of the ball. Hillsman now will hand it off to Darrow Jr. Breaks through the line, and it's going to be a positive gain that time for Urbana. 4 yards for Darrow Jr. He's got 12 yards total on the night, 5 carries for 12 yards for the junior. We go under 9 minutes now to go here in the second quarter. Normal Community got off to a fast start in this game. Looked like they had returned the opening kick for a touchdown. That was called back for a holding penalty. Just a couple plays later, they were in the end zone. A couple of passing touchdowns by the Ironmen, and now a timeout here for Normal Community. This is going to be one of the things for the Ironmen tonight. A lot of substitutions, a lot of guys going in and out. They might even have some guys playing in some different positions. So there's going to be, you have to be really paying attention on that sideline because you could be heading into the game at any moment.
Right, I was starting to wonder when we were about to start making those substitutions. We saw it on that drive there for the Tigers as some more community players are starting to be put into rotation here. It's 42-0. This usually seems about the score where they start getting some more guys in there once they get about that 40-point lead, which we usually see around halftime when you start seeing that running clock. There's still no running clock because it's not halftime yet. Still plenty of time to go in the second quarter. So I think, like you talked about how sometimes not being able to get as many substitutions as you want, I don't think Community's going to struggle with that today. They got a lot of time to sub in a lot of guys that put in a lot of hard work, but aren't necessarily as appreciated as much.
Yeah, you know that the coaches are going to try to get as many guys in as they possibly can tonight. Be more difficult to do that next week against Kankakee. The punt was blocked. It came back to the punter again. He almost got the first down, Zach. He's about 4 yards short. But that one literally, I think, went off the back of Ivo Austin as he was trying to get to the punter. So it was blocked, and it will be Normal Community football at right around the Urbana 27.
You know, I'm not sure if I've seen that before.
I don't think Ivo really had any intention of blocking the punt that time. The ball just kind of ran into him, and it worked out. It went right back to the punter, and 4 more yards, he'd had a first down.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to get it there. He had a nice little spin. You know, something I can say about Urbana is they've done some great job just being able to spin and move off the ball. They have a lot of speed and a lot of athleticism, which I think will help them out in future years.
Jacob Moody was the player who got the football back off the right side now. With the ball there for the Ironmen is Cole Kretzinger. And the first time we've seen Cole carry the football, and one of the things Urbana is going to find out, as many of the opponents have found out against Normal Community, is that not a huge drop-off from 1 to 2. Cole can really carry the football. 148 total yards for Kretzinger coming in on the season. Obviously, Kalen Taylor has been the dominant one so far this year, but Kretzinger's done a nice job kind of coming into the game behind him.
Yeah, and last year, you know, Tommy Davis had 20 touchdowns, and here we go.
On a cutback, and finding the end zone that time is Noah Goley right there. As Noah Goley takes it in from the quarterback position, and it's a touchdown for the Ironmen as they go up 48-0. So Noah Goley finds the end zone.
You know, often we see Kyle Beatty's brother, Lucas Beatty, there, the backup quarterback position. Now we're seeing Noah Goley, the 6'1 junior. Sure we'll see a lot of him next year as well. And Lucas Beatty is a sophomore. He's also one of the quarterbacks behind Kyle.
Yeah, Lucas Beatty, has taken almost all the snaps backing up Kyle. So 49-0 now in favor of Normal Community as the Ironmen will be playing with a running clock in the second half here, as they have really taken it to Urbana here so far in half number one. So looks like the Ironmen, they're calling for a 2-point conversion here, Zach, and they are. So it looks like Normal Community is going to go for 2. Not exactly sure why they're going to go for 2 here. Maybe don't want to get Will Castro hurt on the field, and it is going to be a 2-point conversion. Has a nice little out route there, and the Ironmen find the end zone, as that was Micah Dringwitz who hauled that one in, and it's 50-0 now. Normal Community, 7:44 to go here in the second half. So another touchdown on the board for the Ironmen, and they are coasting along here this afternoon. This evening. Looks like Kyle Beatty's night is done. 4 out of 5, 117 yards for Beatty, including 3 touchdowns in the first half. Kalen Taylor's night is also done. 1 carry, 23 yards, and a couple of touchdowns because he returned 2 punts for touchdowns here in the contest. So quarterback 1 and running back 1, you have to think are finished for the night, and they'll get ready for Kankakee next week, which is going to be a really difficult game.
Yeah, how many passing yards did you say again for Kyle?
117 passing yards on 4 completions.
It's about 29 yards a pass.
Zach, that was quick math. Yep, you said last week you weren't real quick with the math. That was really good, though.
That's the kind of math I'm better at.
Yeah, better at the quick division.
Yeah,
yep.
I like that.
Yeah,
once it starts getting lots of words and stuff, that's when I can pass on it.
Yep. Well, that was nice. So Normal Community still hasn't come out to kick the football off, and Urbana's going to move up a little bit here. I think there might have been a penalty after the play that time on the Ironmen. Might have been a little bit of too much verbiage going on in the end zone there. So 15 yards, maybe unsportsmanlike against Normal Community. So Will Castro will kick this one off from the 25-yard line. 50-0. Normal Community leads Urbana. 7:44 to go here in the second quarter, as Normal Community dominant from the beginning. A couple early passing touchdowns from the Ironmen, 2 punt returns for a touchdown. That was in the first quarter, and they've subbed a number of players into the game. We'll try to get as many names and numbers to you, as taking a knee that time, did not try to, but Christian Porter going down to a knee right around the 22-yard line. Let's see if Urbana can establish something on the ground here, maybe chew up a little bit of clock, try to keep Normal Community's offense off the field, as the backups are now in for the Ironmen. Amari Day is number 43. He's a 6-foot junior out there for Normal Community at the linebacker position. We got Murphy Brennan as well, a 5'11 junior in the middle of that defensive front there for Normal Community, also playing at a linebacker position. He is now in the ball game here for the Ironmen. And Landon Corbin, number 34, the 5'7 junior, is going to play in that defensive backfield. So good to see him on the field here. As Hillsman on the keeper there is going to pick up maybe about a yard, maybe 2 that time, as Urbana will be facing a 2nd down and 8.
Yeah, Urbana currently stands there tied for 10th in the Big 12. Under them's Peoria Notre Dame, who we talked about, took those 2 hard losses, very close games. And looking at some other teams, we were talking about the 6A poll earlier. We talked about the top 10. There is actually a handful of Big 12 teams that received some votes. Bloomington was number 13 in the 6A poll. Champaign Centennial, number 14, and West was tied for 16. So, you got 3 teams from the Big 12 in the mix there on the 6A polls, and Peoria was number 11 in their 5A poll. Very easily could jump up to top 10. They've always been a great program, and they're usually a threat for community.
Yeah, they certainly are, and the Boyd community had a hard time shutting down their run game last year as Darrow Jr. had nowhere to go there. He's going to lose a couple yards on the play.
Yeah, you talked about last year. It was a 63-42 final score, and 42 points was, I believe, tied for the most scored against community until that final game of the season. So it's definitely something we hadn't seen all year and didn't see until the very end.
Yeah, boy, Peoria High, their high-octane offense. New coach for the Lions in 2024, and where they have had a couple of close games already as they were able to get by Peoria Notre Dame last week, and got a feel for the Irish. Boy, they start off with Peoria High and West in week 1, Peoria High in week 2. That's a really difficult schedule for them, but watch out for Peoria Notre Dame, though, especially as playing probably 4A football at the end of the season if they can find themselves in the playoffs. Darrow Jr. got the carry again. He is taken down near the line of scrimmage. So after having a nice start with 13 yards in his first 2 carries, now negative 3 yards in the next 5 carries, he'll bring up a 4th down now here for Urbana, and the Tigers will punt the football away again. Normal Communities put 50 points on the board already here in the first half. And we'll see if they can tack on another touchdown before halftime, as out to return this punt is going to be Luke Potts. The 5'10 sophomore will be on the field there to return this punt for Normal Community. His brother Blake was a really standout defender for Normal Community a year ago. Kick away, and Luke will take it at the 45. He's got the 50. Now the 45. He's got the 40. Big-time block at the 30. Luke's got the 20. Cuts it back at the 10. I think he went out of bounds, and he did. He went out of bounds at the 20-yard line, and there might be a penalty flag on the play as one of the Urbana Tigers was taken off his feet at right around the 45-yard line. I'm not sure exactly what the penalty is going to be on that particular play. It looked like a pretty good block on that one, Zach, but I think this one might come back as the Ironmen almost returned another punt for a touchdown. We'll see what the call is from the official.
Yeah, that appeared to be a clean block to me. Murphy Brennan, he's a junior, just 5'11", 195 pounds, though, incredibly strong. It looked clean, but, he definitely has a lot more size than the guy that he blocked there, so we'll see what the call is.
Yeah, I think it was a personal foul penalty that time against Normal Community. It might have been one of those situations where the official thought that might have been a little bit too much contact on the play when the Urbana player went flying, that is for sure. Well, anyway, it's 1st and 10 now for the Ironmen. 4:59 to go here in the second quarter as Normal Community has the football, and we'll try to get some of these names and numbers in for some guys that are seeing the football field as goalie hands the football off that time to Ryder Durden, a 5'10 senior, and Durden is going to get up close to midfield, right around the 49-yard line. A gain of 5 that time for Durden.
It's got to be excited for Durden. He's a senior, being able to see some time under the lights in the homecoming football game. It's got to be a blast.
5 yards that time on first down. And here's a handoff to Durden again. He'll lose a couple of yards that time as the Tigers able to stand up there. And we'll see if Normal Community will keep the ball on the ground here quite a bit now late in the half. 4:18 to go here in the second quarter. It will be a running clock in the second half, and things are going to move along very quickly in half number 2. It's been a long first half because the Ironmen have found the end zone quite often here so far in half number 1. 3rd and 7 now here, as Noah Goli has taken over at quarterback position here for the Ironmen. Hands it off to Durden. He's got the 50, and he'll be taken down right around the 47-yard line. It will bring up a 4th down now, and about 2 yards coming up for Community. Clock ticks down to 3:40 to go in the first half.
Well, if you're Community here, what are you thinking? You thinking you might go for it here? It's actually a 4th and 1, they said. I think they would definitely have a very good chance of getting this first down here. You don't have too much to lose, being at about the 47-yard line. It's not too risky.
Peyton Newton is on the far side for Normal Community. He's the wide receiver on the far side. As goalie gets everybody in position. Noah's going to take it himself. He's got the 45, cuts it back at the 40. He'll go out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Gain of 11 that time for Noah goalie. That's his second carry. 2 carries for 30 yards for Noah goalie. On the offensive line, Adrian Ramirez, 5'10 junior in the lineup for Normal Community right now. Aaron Hall, a 6'1 junior, is number 56. He's also on that offensive line for the Ironmen. As you mentioned a few moments ago, we'd see Brady Wolf, and we're seeing him out there at the tight end position. He's number 33 for Normal Community. Split out to the far side is Nicky Yaros, a 5'10 senior. He is the wide receiver on the far side. Hand off to Durden again, and he's going to find just a few yards off the right side that time. And Ryder's gotten a number of carries here so far, gain of 2. He's got 4 carries for 10 yards since coming into the game.
You know, we're seeing a nice blend of seniors and juniors. You know, you got a lot of juniors that are on the offensive line playing a tight end like Brady Wolf, and then you have a few seniors mixed in there. You got Durden running the ball. Yaros is out for some receptions, and I think it's just very important, like, to get that balance. You're able to get those juniors that are going to get a lot of time next season and get them some time in a real game, and then you also have these seniors that have been through your program all 4 years, really put in all the work, and give them a bit of a reward.
Joshua Owens is number 75 on that offensive line. It might have been a horse collar tackle there, but Noah goalie is brought down from behind. No gain for goalie. Bring up a 3rd down now, and we'll try to get the rest of the names and numbers here. But as I mentioned, Joshua Owens, 6'1", 255 on that offensive line. Zach Zeman out there as well, 6'1", 255 on that offensive line for the Ironmen. And we'll see if there's a couple of more players now that have found themselves on the field that we have not mentioned as of yet, as Coach Drengwitz has been able to get a number of players here in the contest. Looks like on the field right now for Normal Community. Go ahead, Zach.
Senior Michael Scott's on the offensive line as well. He's 6', 270.
Now we see Peyton Newton out there in the slot right now. Hand off to Durden off the right side. He's got the 30. He's got the 20. Still on his feet at the 15. Pulled down to the 13-yard line. Ryder Durden's got a gain of 22 yards. It looked like he might have taken that one to the house there for just a second. He did a nice cut back, and now the ball at the, looks like the 18-yard line. Clock at 1:25 to go here in the first half. It is on the move now. Look like Normal Community's kind of settled into a second team here that has seen quite a few snaps on this particular drive, and I think we got all the names and numbers out there now of everybody on the field.
Yeah, I think we did. And, you know, I think it was really important for Durden to get that breakthrough run there, and let's see how he does on this one.
Yeah, Durden now to the 5. His knee, I think, went down right around the 7-yard line. We'll see if he's going to be able to find the end zone. He's come in. He's got 42 yards on this drive. 6 carries for Durden for 42 yards. Clock at 49 seconds now, and we'll bring up a 2nd down and about 3 yards to go. The ball sitting at the Urbana 7-yard line, and we'll see what Normal Community does. Obviously, you love to reward some guys that really practice hard, don't see a lot of time on the field with a touchdown, but you also want to be careful about running up the score here in the first half. We'll see what the Ironmen do. Hand off to Durden once again. He's going to be stacked up right at that line of scrimmage. Lost a yard right there. And I do believe Normal Community will probably let the rest of that clock run out, and we will head into halftime with a score of 50-0 in favor of the Ironmen. And, 7 seconds now. Clock at 5, and we have reached halftime. Our halftime score here from Normal Community High School. The Ironmen lead Urbana by a score of 50-0, as Normal Community Zach got off to a great start and really never backed off from there.
Yeah, and you know, we haven't actually seen the offense really take on the field as much as they did right there. You know, they chewed up a lot of time. I'm sure we'll see a lot of that in the second half, a lot of running the ball as we saw from Ryder Durden. We'll see some more running backs come in, whether they're seniors or expected to play next year. And I think, you know, it's a 50-0 lead here for Community. And I think it was a really respectful decision there to kind of let the clock run out. You know, you have a commanding lead, and yes, you could call a timeout, go for it again, but what community was trying to do was kind of chew up that clock, give a lot of people lots of opportunities, but also at the end of the game, at the end of the day, it's really important to be respectful, and Coach Dringwitz talks about that over and over and over again.
That certainly does, and obviously it's the type of game where normal community can score as many points as they want to here this evening, but also Urbana, as we mentioned, building a program, a lot of young guys. We saw some good things from the Tigers in the first half.
Yes, we did, especially offensively. You know, they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of speed on the offensive end. Someone that really stuck out to me, and we talked about him a lot, was Sorrell Darrow Jr. He's a junior as well, the running back there. And, you know, we saw a lot of good things from him. He's got some speed. He's got some moves. He's able to move around the defense, juke out a couple people. And I was just really impressed by his footwork and also his endurance to be able to kickoff return, catch some balls, run the ball. He's able to do a lot of things, and I think he's going to be a key to their team this year and next year, as he's still got another year to go. And then another junior that really caught our attention was Hillsman. You know, as the half progressed, he threw that interception. You know, things started to go down a little bit more, but once he started off, he was fast. He was able to get a lot of strength off of running, and I think he's got a good arm, he's got a good eye, and he's really good at making decisions. He's got a fast decision time, and I think that's going to be huge.
And I think the big thing for Urbana going forward is going to be figuring out what do we do with the offensive and defensive lines, right? And we talked about that's where games are won, and that's what they're going to have to build, is figuring out, hey, how are we going to get that line together so we can hold up against a team like Normal Community or other opponents that they are going to play as the season goes along.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, we've talked a lot about, like, a very successful quarterback, a very successful running back, but I think it does start with the line. You could see there were some good things from the offensive line for sure in that first half, but you could also see it was pretty easy to break through at times. I think that's something that comes with when you're starting up a program, right? You got to get some new coaches in, got to get like a lot of times community does the same thing as years, just switching it up a little bit, and they need to get that solid game plan in their head for their offensive line. I think once they get that, it'll look a lot better.
Well, we're going to step aside for a quick break here at halftime. Our score, Normal Community 50, Urbana nothing. When we come back, we'll put together some stats for you from the first half, and we're hoping to have a visit with Coach Witzik, the basketball coach at Normal Community, at some point in the second half. Once again, our halftime score, Normal Community 50, Urbana nothing. We'll see you in a few moments. Welcome back to Normal Community High School. It is halftime. It is homecoming here on the north side of Normal, and halftime. Normal Community leads Urbana by a score of 50-0. Joel Swanson, Zach Knox Doyle bringing the action here from Normal Community High School tonight. Let's look at the first half numbers. First for the Ironmen, 204 total yards for Normal Community, 117 through the air, 87 on the ground for the Ironmen. Highlighted by a Kyle Beatty, 4 for 5, 117 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ryan Durden was the leading rusher for Normal Community, 7 carries for 41 yards in the first half. And Kalen Taylor just had 1 carry for 23 yards, but Kalen did return a couple of punts for touchdowns in the first quarter. Normal Community led 28-0 after 1, 50-0 at half. For Urbana, the Tigers, 26 total yards in the first half, 14 through the air, 12 yards on the ground. Brent Inman had 3 carries for 1 yard. Sorrell Darrow Jr., 7 carries for 10 yards. Kyrie Hillsman had 4 carries for 6 yards in the first half, and Kyrie Hillsman was 3 for 9, 14 yards, passing the football, had 1 interception in half number 1. Leading receiver for Urbana in the first half, Sorrell Darrow Jr. had 2 catches for 8 yards. So, Zach, kind of what we thought coming in, Normal Community, bigger, stronger at the point of attack. We saw the same thing in the backfield with their receivers, and the Ironmen pretty much an easy first half out in front, 50-0.
Yeah, definitely an easy first half, and something that I talked about at the end of the second half. Obviously, they're showcasing their size, their strength, capabilities on offense, being very versatile, and then also on defense, they've looked very sharp. But something that really stood out to me was the end of that second half there. You know, you got about a minute 30 left, about 20 yards to go, like you're in the red zone. You could easily get a touchdown, and I think it was really respectful for community to just kind of let the clock run out, and I think that's something that really shows like who you are as a team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And same thing, getting a lot of guys in the game. Want to make sure that you don't have any injuries going into a much more difficult opponent next week. Many people looking at the 9-game schedule, you know, Kankakee jumps off the charts. Talked about being number 3 in the 6A poll. The K's are going to be a tough one next week for the Ironmen, and that one's on the road as well.
Yeah, Kankakee is going to be a very tough team. They're number 3 in 6A. They have been very successful. They did lose their first game of the season just by a touchdown to the number 1 team in 5A. But after that, although we're playing Kankakee, the next game is going to be Peoria Manual, and the next game is going to be Bloomington. All away games, all very formidable opponents. So it should be a rough go it should be definitely a challenge for the Ironmen. But I think they'll be able to really learn from that, and it'll be really important for the postseason.
Yeah, Kankakee, there's really nothing shameful about losing the Nazareth Academy in your opening game of the season. The Roadrunners, the defending Class 5A state champions, 2-time 5A state champions, looking for number 3 here in 2024. Well, Coach Dave Witzik has joined us here in the booth, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the basketball season coming up as Coach Witzik gets ready for year number 26. Am I right about that, number 26?
Yes, you are right about that, and we are continuing a tradition here in the fall where the football team is going to average more points per game than the basketball team in the winter. 50 points at halftime. We average about 55 points a game during basketball, so the tradition continues. Awesome football offense.
Well, you're obviously the basketball coach here, but also a teacher here for a long time. Talk about what homecoming means to you, and especially a special homecoming here in 2024.
Yeah, it's always, you walk into the field here and you see a bunch of alumni, former basketball players, checked in with some of them like Brady Starkey and some other guys like that, and great crowd, and it's just a lot of fun, great memories. I thought we had a great pep assembly today. The student council did a great job, and the parade was fun to bring that back. So it was a fun day here in Normal Community.
Yeah, almost the idea of the parade for some of us that have been in Normal Community for quite a while brought us back to the old building a little bit, and the tradition that kind of started there. And wanted to have a parade out here, not much of a neighborhood to do so, but I thought did a great job pulling it off here this afternoon.
Yeah, the old school, we used to go around ISU. I mean, it was a long trek. It was fun, but some good possibilities to expand it in the future maybe.
Well, certainly basketball season for you probably never ends, but the actual season is right around the corner. Great season a year ago, and maybe just talk about that path that your team went on a year ago and really what that meant to you, just a special season?
Yeah, we had the bullseye on us from the beginning of the summer. Social media is a lot different now. There's a lot of reporting on high school basketball in June, and so we had a lot of noise about us at the beginning, how tall we were and how good we were going to be, and we were able to, thanks to Nick Kerfoot, our AD, we got an unbelievable schedule last year to travel all over the state to play the best teams from Chicagoland, and it was a great experience to do that. And then we got on a roll, got a break at Quincy when we beat Quincy at Pekin and took it all the way to the last game of the season. So fun.
You have coached a lot of games. Have you ever coached one quite like the Quincy game and the way that game ended?
I think what stands out to me about it is I talked to the Rock Island coach a couple weeks before, and he said Quincy always finds a way to win by one. And we were ahead the whole game. I thought we played really well, and then they banked in a shot. A guy banked in a shot. They hit a three-pointer, hit the rim 5 times to give them a 1-point lead. And so when I was looking back, I thought that guy's prediction is going to come true, that they just find a way to win by one. And then March Madness happened, and I will never forget that. The next 20 minutes running around, and that was the best workout I've had in years. I've never jumped and ran, and I'll never forget it, that game.
I don't think I've ever seen a crowd go from despair to jubilation quite like what happened that particular evening.
I had a friend at the game who got there kind of late, and he sat near kind of behind Quincy's bench, and he said they barely moved when the game was over. They were incomplete. They were stunned, and they barely even moved. So, yeah, it was an unbelievable, crazy March Madness, unforgettable moment.
Now we see, I do believe, an incompletion that time for Urbana. It's going to bring up a second down and 10. That created momentum, which you carried into Redbird Arena. That night was special as well. The crowd was special, and your team put on a performance against Downers Grove North to send you to Champaign.
Yeah, we played Downers Grove North earlier in the year, and they kind of took it to us in January. But if we can get to that Elite Eight game at ISU, it's such a huge advantage. We've been there 3 times. Mm-hmm. We've won all 3 games, and all 3 games have been the same. We come out of the locker room, and you go running in there, and it's just a massive amount of normal community fans and the crowd. It's an unbelievable home court advantage. And we played our best game that night. And you guys probably remember the end of the third quarter where Jaheim dunked it at the buzzer. We were winning the whole game, but when he dunked it, hammered that at the buzzer, that to me was, the coach was like, we're going to state again. It was just a great atmosphere at ISU.
Probably brought back some memories, as you mentioned, of the 2015 team that beat Chicago Simeon there. Similar crowd. I do remember that Simeon game. They had to open up the upper deck. I mean, there were so many people that showed up there, but also the game this last year as well.
Yeah, it just, like I said, it's just a huge advantage because, 4,000, 5,000 fans there. Most high school gyms hold under 2,000. So, and Downers Grove North, being from where they're at, hour and a half away, they didn't bring as many fans. It was just a huge home court advantage. And we played really, really well that night from the tip and great defense and great night. And then going to Champaign was so fun, too.
Talk about that experience a little bit. Obviously, your first 2 trips go to Peoria. The Civic Center is a great place to watch a basketball game, but probably something special about being able to play at the Assembly Hall. You grew up like I did in Illinois, going to state tournament games at the Assembly Hall, so that'd be something really special about taking a team there.
Yeah, it is. One quick thing about Peoria that is a lot of fun is they, in those days, you would stay in a hotel walking distance from the Civic Center. And so what I remember about being there in 2015 is our team met together in the lobby and then walked, maybe half a mile or a quarter mile to the arena. And as we're walking through the streets of Peoria, everyone was cheering for us. The Peoria crowd telling us to bring the trophy back to Central Illinois.
That's cool.
So, Peoria had some really special memories, too, being so close. But you're right, going to the Assembly Hall, it's a Big Ten arena, Big Ten locker rooms. It just is a really big-time basketball atmosphere. And we had a huge crowd there, too, for those games, too. I was so thankful and proud of Ironman Nation coming out for those games. And, memories we'll never forget.
That Saturday night, you're playing for the 4A state championship. Does it hit you in the moment that, hey, here we are? I mean, this is exactly where we wanted to be. Of everything that happened during the season, we have landed now in this moment right where we want to be at this particular time.
Yeah, it felt like our schedule prepared us for that. So, I'm very fortunate. It's the second time I've coached in the state championship game. The first time I felt like I was not prepared. We got out-coached. I got out-coached. In this game, I felt like we had a better plan. We were better. We were better prepared for home and Flossmoor. But they were great that night, and they were great from three-point shooting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when the game started and we came running out there, I was like, it's just an incredible feeling to play the last game of the Illinois high school basketball season, and the normal Ironmen are in that game. So. And Joel, you were with me at the beginning when I first became a head coach. You were a freshman basketball coach. You're a great basketball coach too. And so you know what we started,
Sure.
where we started, and it's just a real special feeling to get to those moments.
Now, in your defense in 2015, Jalen Brunson did run out on the other side, so that does make a bit of a difference, when Stevenson has that type of player on their side that particular year.
Yeah, we were in that game. We were down 6 at halftime, and then he took over in the second half, and he was a special player. I never dreamed he'd be an NBA all-star, incredible player, but I get a text probably once a week during the NBA season from people, family members or whatever, that say, hey, Brunson's on. He's on TNT right now. You got to turn on and watch him. I can't believe you played against him. And it's like, yeah, he's a great NBA player, so imagine him in a high school game.
I know the last thing you want to talk about is yourself, but you did go over 500 victories this last year. You're sitting at 520. That puts you in top 50 in IHSA history of wins at one school. I know some other names on that list that you're getting pretty close to are guys like Chuck Bisher, Dick Van Syak, guys that you grew up watching and coached against you when you played. What did that mean to you to reach that milestone this past season?
I think what's special about it, too, is it's all a normal community. And so a lot of coaches have had to go to different places and travel around and keep working their way up. And I got this position 25 years ago, and at the time, normal community basketball was down, and not many people wanted the job. And the school has grown in size. It's been fun to be a part of a big school doing big things. And so I'm very thankful for, like I said, I was at the right spot at the right time at the right moment where I got the job, and this school started to grow, and we started to get some really great basketball players showing up in our doors, and that bought into our man-to-man, share-the-ball philosophy. So it's been great.
Very uncommon, coach, to have the same JV coach for 25 years, and also Coach Nathan Foster, your right-hand man for 22, 23 years. That is extremely uncommon, and that's testament to you, but also some of the guys that have stuck around your program.
Yeah, Ryan Short is a great coach. He could be a head basketball coach. He's our great baseball coach. Nathan Foster's coaching golf. Does a great job helping me. Matt Schreiber played for me, now is coaching. And then Coach Hughes and Coach Nix are on our staff now. We're former head coaches too. And so we have a great staff, and sometimes, since we're such good friends, we do argue a lot in the coach's office before we head out. It's like big brothers, and I'm the oldest brother, and we're just in there really trying to figure things out and giving our opinions. So I have an unbelievable coaching staff. Derek Schoner, our freshman coach. The freshman coach has one of the most important jobs of all, because they're kind of on their own, coaching freshman games on Monday and Wednesday and Saturday mornings. They're not around the varsity, and so he builds a foundation, and it goes from there.
Yeah, and how long has Derek been your freshman coach now?
Derek volunteered with Coach Foster for a couple years at the freshman level, and then he took over. So it's been about 10 years now. He's been the head freshman coach, and he knows all the, he does a great job.
Yep. So Zach is ready to flip the calendar to this year. So Zach's got some questions about you for the 24-25 Ironman.
Yeah, so obviously it's a very different team this year. Braylon Roman, Nico Newsom, Dexter Niekamp, Noah Cleveland, Jaheim Weber, they were all seniors. They were all starters. First, can you just reminisce on their impact of last year and just how they maybe impacted the players this year?
Yeah, it was great having Noah Cleveland come back, and he was an unbelievable addition. And Nico coming from Bloomington was awesome last year, and Nico's playing at Saginaw Valley State College up in Michigan. Dexter was a great 4-year player, and we're going to miss his toughness. He was one of those, he's just a hard-nosed, lunch pail, hard hat guy. In the Downers Grove North game, he guarded their best three-point shooter, and the kid could barely get a shot off. And Dexter is just an unbelievable player. Love watching him. Look forward to watching him at ISU football. And then, of course, Jaheim, 6'9", and just a mountain of a man, and took up so much space. And other teams, I've talked to other coaches this summer, and they said whenever they played us, he was the guy they had to figure out how to stop. You start from there and move out. and they just had to throw bodies at him, and he could handle that. And then Braylon's probably the best point guard I've ever coached. He could handle all the pressure. He could steal the ball and dunk it. He could hit a three. And, I think Braylon's the one we're going to miss probably the most because the ball is in his hand so much. And so that's probably the biggest thing is who's going to be, we're going to have to share the ball and who's going to be bringing the ball up. But those guys left their mark, had unbelievable records and memories, and proud of them. And but I'm looking forward to this group this year. I think it's going to be a really fun group.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about the leadership that those seniors played and also how you think they'll impact the players this year that are going to step into those leadership positions?
I think the first thing that people are going to see this year is going to be Kobe because he's the last of the big men. But Kobe and Jaheim guard each other every day in practice. I mean, every day. And it was a war, and they sometimes got mad at each other, and they pushed each other. And so I think that Kobe made Jaheim better, and Jaheim made Kobe better, and I think people are really going to see Kobe in his full 28 minutes a game getting after it. And Kobe's he learned a lot from Jaheim, and they got better with each other, and that's really something I'm looking forward to watching Kobe this year.
Yeah, who will be some other players that maybe didn't get a lot of playing time last year that'll look to see a lot more playing time this year and really impact the team?
So the other player that played quite a bit last year was Connor Smith. So now he's a senior, and he's a great three-point shooter and has had a good summer. And then Trey Burdett was a guard off the bench that got some playing time, and Owen Osborne. So those guys are the ones with the most experience, and they were in some games too. They were in some moments at different times, had to be thrown out there, and so they bring some experience back. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who the young guys step up, and we had a good sophomore team last year. We have an incoming sophomore, Joel Brown, who had a good summer, and so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very competitive for playing time, and I think we're going to surprise people. I think people want to talk about who's not going to be here, who's not on our team this year because all the guys graduated, but I think our guys going to be able to establish themselves too.
Yeah, looking at in-conference play, in the 24 season, Community was 10-0 in the Big 12. Can you talk about your in-conference goals this season and the top competition, kind of people to watch out for, teams to watch out for?
Everybody's talking about Manual right now, Peoria Manual. They're the team that is getting the most press. And so, great player that's being recruited by U of I. So they won't be easy. Peoria High is going to be tough again. They're always hard-nosed and tough. And Richwoods, they're kind of in our position. They lost a lot of guys. They're going to have some new people. And Notre Dame's never easy because they play a crazy zone defense and do things. So the Peoria schools are going to be tough. And then Bloomington has a new head coach, which is their old head coach who was great when he was there. So the inner city schools west, it's never easy with those guys. And then you got the Champaign schools. But I think the team that most people are predicting to win is Manual because of their talented guard.
Yeah, and in these football games we see great crowds, great fans. You also see them in basketball games. As last season at home you guys were undefeated. Can you describe the environment at home games and how important it is to have such a strong home crowd and how excited you are to have that crowd behind you guys again this season?
Yeah, and I think we had 10 home games last year, maybe, if you count the regionals. And then I think we won our last 4 or 5 the year before. So we're on a little win streak from home game win streak. So our fans have done a great job. Tuesday nights, Saturday nights, Friday nights are the big draw. It's been fun to do some things with the girls team. We stayed another day night. And we're going to have a game this year where the SOAR Special Olympic team is going to play before our game. So we have some fun things planned, and I know, like I said at the football game, the student section is awesome. It's fun that everybody supports everybody, and it really helps us for those home games.
Yeah, we know it's really early. Are there any goals or any other things that excite you? It seems like it's going to be a really exciting season. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, like I said, our athletic director does an unbelievable job. So we have some fun games again. We're playing Stevenson, one of the good suburb schools up north. We're going down south and playing Cardinal Ritter in St. Louis this year. We're going to have a St. Louis game. We've never done that before. So we have a contract with them. And so we're going to play some big boys again, some of the better teams, the suburb teams, State Farm Classic, and those things bring down good teams. So, yeah, I think with this team, the goal is, I always want to win the conference. And then you want to be playing our best in March and make a run like we did this year. And it's going to be a team that I think is going to get better as the year goes on. I think it's going to be competitive practices, and you might see different starting lineups because different guys are going to step up. But I think we have a good chance to have a really fun, competitive team.
You got a new floor to play on. It's beautiful. I've taken a look at it, and they did a wonderful job.
It looks great. It hadn't been repainted since we were out here, so it was in need of that. But they really did a good job of getting the color black kind of more in the gym too. We have a lot of orange, which is great, orange and black. So they've done a great job, and I look forward to getting out there and practicing. It's just going to be, like I said, I think it's one of those years where people are going to talk about who's not on our team, and then by Christmas time they'll start knowing who is on our team.
All right, last question for you. Are the Cardinals still in it?
Cardinals are not in it anymore.
All right,
they're mathematically in it, but it's time for them to start playing some of the young guys and moving on to 2025. And really disappointing, but you know what? The Bears are 1-0.
There you go.
So you just got to get ready for the next thing. So,
yeah, and the Bears are 1-0, but actually a little stat I saw, so they had under 150 yards offensively. Last time that happened with a win for the Bears was 2006.
That's a good sign.
Made the Super Bowl then.
That's a good sign. Yeah, I think he's going to be a great quarterback. I really do.
I agree.
But I'm also saying that with my heart, not my mind. So I don't know enough about NFL quarterbacks, but my heart says he's going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks. So let's do it.
I'm very excited as well.
Well, Coach, Zach and I are both really looking forward to the basketball season. I can't tell you how much we enjoyed covering your team last year and having some of your players in class. They represented our school and your basketball team very well throughout the year.
We appreciate that. And you guys know, and I've told you guys this before, but I have family literally all over the country that tune into the games. And when you guys they loved your announcing last year, and they really appreciated the stats and the stories that you guys would bring in. And so you guys made a big hit. It was, and I said this before too, but one of my favorite memories last year was being in the press conference and getting questions from the Ink Spot reporters at the state tournament. I look at it, there's all these reporters out there, and the guys got a question, and it was so fun. And this is really how school should be. Students doing, everybody's involved, doing different things that they're skilled at. And so we really appreciate you guys being at our games.
Yeah, it's hard to believe sometimes that, Zach, this is only his second year doing this. And are you 17, Zach? Is that right? 17?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, 17 years old. And he sounds like a professional already.
Yeah.
So, yep. And, it's been really a blast. But just tremendous covering your team last year. We really enjoyed it. We wish you the best of luck here in 24-25.
I kind of have a feeling in 10 years we're going to go to some games, and Zach's going to get us tickets where
Yes.
he's broadcasting at. He's going to get us some tickets of the team he's broadcasting, and we'll sit in the stands and say that we know the announcer. We knew him when he was a guy in our hallways walking around.
Yep,
so.
just starting off. Yep. Yeah.
So all the people that help out with this, we're really it's just, like I said, it's just how school should be. Students doing things like this with the team, everybody involved. I love it. So thanks for doing that, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go back to the game here.
Yep.
Let's see ya.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. That was Coach Dave Witzik, the head basketball coach at Normal Community, and I don't think anybody represents a school any better than Coach Witzik does. Just obviously with all the wins that he's piled up over the years, but also great man of character as well, and certainly is just such a great representative of Normal Community High School every single day. You can see Mr. Witzik out in the hallways. You can see him fist bumping kids as they leave his room. So he is not just our basketball coach, but he's a huge part of what happens here every single day.
Yeah, I actually have a class that's right by his room, and every day I see kids walking out, and every single one of them getting a fist bump. And it's just really cool. And, whenever I see him in the hallways, make sure to say hi. Always says something about the Ink Spot, really positive. Just a great guy. So much fun to be around and so much fun to talk to him today.
Now we see Urbana's going to lose some yardage. Sorry, we kind of cut out there for a while to talk to Coach Witzik here in the third quarter as Urbana is going to turn the ball back over to Normal Community. And, Zach, I do believe Normal Community hasn't touched the football here yet in the third quarter. I think Urbana had it the whole time.
Yeah,
so
it looks that way. I think we might have touched it very quickly, but, we're going into the fourth quarter here, score unchanged, 50-0 for Community. Once that running clock gets going, it's a much faster game.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's kind of what it's designed for. So Normal Community will take over on downs. They lead Urbana by a score of 50-0, but thanks to Coach Witzik for stopping by and giving us a whole quarter of his time there, as that was the entire third quarter. But for you and I, it was our first year of working ink spot games for Normal Community. We were completely blessed to be able to cover the football team a year ago that was undefeated all the way to the semifinals. Cover the basketball team that goes all the way to the state championship game. 23-24 was a thrilling year and a great start for us.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I remember going into journalism one day, and Mr. Bovenkirk just asked me, he was like, hey, do you want to do some announcing? I was like, sure. And that's kind of how it started. We started with the football and just a spectacular team, making it to the quarterfinals. Yeah.
Semifinals.
Yep,
Semifinals. Semifinals a year ago.
With that fourth place finish, the four kind of got confused with the quarter there. But the semifinal performance there, and then basketball, runners up in state. It was just such an amazing experience to have that as kind of my first experience being able to just announce and cover all the games. It was so much fun.
Yeah, be able to work with BJ Dumas a year ago. Certainly miss him on the broadcast this year. And then Ben Kerber in basketball. Really enjoyed working with Ben. We wish those guys the best of luck and hoping that they stick with the broadcasting as well as opportunities certainly open up. And there are more opportunities than ever now with live streaming and all the things that you can do with that to be able to get into the world of broadcasting. So we wish them the best of luck as they are off in their college experiences.
Yeah, they're at Missouri, which is a amazing journalism school, one that I'm looking at for sure. And I think the great thing about Missouri is they have their own news station that's actually televised throughout Missouri, and the kids are the ones that lead it. And I think that's really cool and something that draws a lot of people into Missouri.
Noah Goalie picks up 12 yards there and a first down for the Ironmen. Goalie's had a nice night, 4 carries for 42 yards, and still Durden is the leading rusher for Normal Community. He's got 8 carries for 45 yards here so far in this game. Ryder Durden, the 5'10 senior, has those 45 yards, so he is their leading ball carrier so far. Kalen Taylor only has 1 carry in this game, which is hard to believe. As keeping the ball that time is Isaiah Quinterly. Quinterly actually was the quarterback that had the football just a moment ago. My apologies. He picks up 14, so that's 26 yards for him now on 2 carries.
I played basketball with him in the JV season my sophomore year. And it was kind of funny because he was a guy that hadn't really played a lot of basketball. He's this football player, and it was really fun playing with him. He was really athletic, just a fun guy to be around.
Yeah, Quinterly is a 5'8 senior. He's going to come out, and Brady Carroll, the 6'2 junior now, is going to enter the lineup for Normal Community. So Quinterly goes to the bench here. The Ironmen not on the scoreboard yet in the second half. Of course, scored 28 in the first quarter, 22 in the second, 50 total in the first half, as Ryder Durden is going to be knocked down after a gain of about 2 yards on that carry. And the clock down to 9:10 to go here in the fourth quarter as Normal Community leads Urbana 50-0.
Yeah, we'll also try to get some more names in there as well. We've talked about this a lot this game, but there's so many people getting opportunities. And if you looked at the preview earlier that was posted, I think Thursday this week, there's a lot of information about players that we'll be seeing a lot of time next season. So think of this as a bit of a preview for next season and a bit of a thank you to all the seniors that have put in all their hard work.
Now Holden Baldwin is on the near side. Ryder Durden's got it again, and he's going to pick up about 5 yards right there. That puts him at 50 for the night here. And as you mentioned, Zach, we'll try to get those names and numbers to you here. Eric Wilkin now is on the field, a 5'10 junior for the Ironmen. Let's see if we can get some of those guys on that line of scrimmage there. Looks like number 40 is Griffin Zufall. Looks like he's at the tight end position there for Normal Community. A couple of linemen there look pretty much the same as what they had earlier in the game up front. Number 83 out there is Gavin Sheets. He's a 6-foot senior, seeing some time here this evening. He has split out now to the near side.
Josh Owens as well on that offensive line.
Handoff now to Ryder Durden again. Will he find the end zone? Cut it back inside, and Ryder Durden has found the end zone for the Ironmen. He goes in from 19 yards out, and he has a touchdown. Ryder now has 69 yards on the night, and Normal Community extends to a 56-0 lead. The clock only stops in the second half for touchdowns, injuries, and timeouts. So the clock will stop right there. But Normal Community plants point 56 on the board here now in the fourth quarter.
That was quite the impressive run there from Ryder. And one thing that really caught my eye was about at that 5-yard line. He could have kept going and maybe got the touchdown. Instead, he slowed down, changed the way he was running, and finished out going at a bit of a diagonal as the extra point seems to be missed there.
Yeah, no good that time as Adler Jimenez, the kicker, the sophomore, 5'6", 135, could knock that one through. That was his first attempt of the year. No good. Let's see if we see him a little bit more as the year goes on. 7:45 to go in the ball game. Our score is Normal Community 56 and Urbana nothing. Well, the Ironmen will hit the road next week. They're going to be heading to Kankakee to take on the K's of Kankakee. And Kankakee certainly is going to be a tough opponent. Number 3 in the 6A poll right now. Kankakee's an interesting story as well. A team that has played 6A football. They've played some 5A football. That's the thing about the class system in Illinois, is you never know what class you're going to be in until you get to the end of the season. Now, Normal Community is in a position where they're going to be in 7A. It's not going to change. But there are some schools that kind of bounce up, they bounce down. So who knows what's going to happen to the K's, but they are an awfully talented football team. Zach, Normal Community is going to see a tremendous amount of speed in their opponent a week from now.
Yeah, and you start wondering with Kankakee so last year they made it to the quarterfinal game, and they ended up falling to East St. Louis, who were the runners-up in the championship of 6A. And you start wondering, if they were in 5A, how far they could have gotten. Such a successful program, and they've just had, and like you say, with the speed, that is something that I've heard from multiple players. I think Coach Drangwitz even said it, and it's just a team that is very speedy, fast, athletic, and they just play great fundamental football.
Well, that sentence that you stated a moment ago, that a team goes down the playoff road and then they run into East St. Louis. I mean, there's a lot of teams that in 6A, that is the end of the season. I mean, we saw that with Normal West. Had a really good team 2 years ago, ran into East St. Louis. Had a good team last year, ran into East St. Louis. Kankakee's the same way, as East St. Louis has been dominant in Class 6A. They just haven't been able to beat Cary Grove in 2 of the last 4 years.
Yeah, they are a powerhouse, but I think we have to start saying Cary Grove's a powerhouse as well. You know, being able to take them down in 2 of the last 4 years, as you said, when for a lot of teams it's like, oh, it's East St. Louis. Like, what are we going to do? They don't really have anything to combat that. And I think Cary Grove has been able to figure out how to take them down.
Yeah, Cary Grove runs a unique offensive system. They run the football very, very well, and they control the ball. They shorten the game, and that has been the key for them to be able to beat the Flyers in 2 of the last 4 seasons. Well, Urbana off the left side picks up maybe about a yard there. Clock's down to 6.5 minutes to go in the contest. If you're just joining us, Normal Community off to a fast start. 2 passing touchdowns in the first quarter, 2 punt return touchdowns in the first quarter. It was 28-0 Ironman after 1. A lot of subs in the game after that. That piles up to a 50-0 lead at halftime, and Ryder Durden has the lone score for Normal Community here in the second half. He went in just a few moments ago from 19 yards out. That made it 57-0 in favor of the Ironmen. So Normal Community will win their homecoming game as they will go to 3-0 on the season after a 9-0 regular season last year. Urbana now will swing it out of the backfield for about a 1-yard gain on the play. Like the ball might have come free there at the end. But catching that football right there is Jacob Moody. Moody, a sophomore, wearing number 20, coming out of the backfield. Gain of about 3 yards that time for the Tigers. 5:35 to go now here in the ball game.
Yeah, and I have a bit of a Big 12 update here. So Bloomington took on Manual today. They are up 27-0 in the third quarter.
Going to be 3-0, looks like, for the Raiders.
Yeah, it looks like they'll start off 3-0, 2-0 in conference, and they're looking really good. As I mentioned earlier, number 13 in the 6A poll.
And Community will go to Bloomington in 3 weeks. That'll be the 3rd consecutive road game for the Ironmen. So crosstown. It'd be interesting to see what kind of record Bloomington will have by the time the Ironmen come calling in week number 6.
Yeah, that should be an excellent game. I'm really excited for that one. And you look at the team that is trailing Community in the Big 12 standings, Peoria High. They are in a high-scoring match.
When are they not?
High score. I know. It is always lots of points up on the scoreboard in that game. It is 34-28 at halftime. They are taking on Morris.
And that is an impressive score for Peoria High. Morris has an excellent football program, so we'll see what happens there. And Zach, have you been to a game at Peoria Stadium?
I have not.
It is a really neat place to watch a game, and they've turfed it. New scoreboard, looks beautiful. But it is really a neat place to watch a game. They have a great atmosphere for Peoria High football, and it's really a great home field advantage for the Lions. That's a really tough place to go in and win.
Yeah, and the game against Peoria this year is at Dick Tharp Field, so it will be here for the Ironmen, which will definitely have an impact on the game. A couple other games that are going on. We don't have the score update quite yet, but we have Richwoods playing Centennial. That was supposed to start at 7 p.m. Champaign Central and Peoria Notre Dame also at 7 p.m. And Normal West versus Danville at 7 p.m.
Yeah, so some good Big 12 action out there as starting the night, Peoria High and Normal Community were out in front in the Big 12. Normal Community is going to pick up their 3rd Big 12 win here tonight. They will have their one non-conference game next week as traveling to Kankakee. Pass knocked down at the line of scrimmage as Justin Curtis was able to get in there. Also making a nice play there is Travis Collins, a 5'11 junior, got in there as well for the Ironmen. Clock at 3:10 now to go here in the 4th quarter. This one was decided quite a while ago, but we've talked about Normal Community, saw some good things out of Urbana tonight, playing a lot of freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, and you noticed something right away on the roster. One lone senior on the roster for Urbana. That says a lot of maybe the future of this program, where they might be able to get it to, trying to get to a competitive football team in the next few years.
Yeah, when I was looking at that roster, I looked it up and down multiple times, making sure that I didn't see a SR instead of a JR, making sure that there were seniors on that roster, and there is only one lone senior as a breakaway run there from the Tigers.
Yeah, nice run, probably the best play of the game right there for Urbana. It'll be a gain of about 13 yards.
If we look at the last 10 years against Urbana, it's been 10 straight wins, 47-20, 48-20. Oh, actually, sorry, I'm mistaken here. In 2012, the Tigers took down Community 21-12, so it has actually been 7 straight wins for Community. 38-6, 31-14, 61-0, 43-8, 49-6, 40-0. Last year was 66-0. And this year, the Tigers still have a chance to get on the board. They're having a nice drive here, but it looks like
down goes Justin Curtis. Got another sack right there, able to bring him down. As Justin's having a nice night coming off the edge there for the Ironmen, as Normal Community now 1:30 on the clock and a minute 30 away from the 3rd win of the season. You looked at those scores and you kind of saw that gap kind of widening between Community and Urbana. But Urbana's had some good football teams in the past. Going to try to rebuild this thing once again. And Centennial's had a good team the last couple of years. Champaign Central's kind of been trying to get a bounce back as well. So some of those teams coming over from the Champaign area. Back to pass now, where the Tigers over the middle has a man. It's going to be incomplete that time. Clock does run even on the incompletion, so 55 seconds to go in the game, as it looked like Darrow Jr. is now playing the quarterback position here for the Tigers here to finish the contest, to bring up a 3rd down and 14. It certainly does, yeah, because I think he was returning kicks. Starting running back now, moving in at the quarterback position here.
He also played a little bit of wide receiver as well.
Yeah.
He does a little bit of everything. What an athlete.
Yep, and certainly the coaching staff asking a lot out of that young man. Might be the last play of the game here with a running clock, though. 3rd down and 14, and Darrow Jr. is going to let it go. This ball is going to be picked off by the Ironmen, and they will return it up the sideline and out of bounds, and clock will continue to run. That's going to do it here from Dick Tharp Field tonight. So Normal Community wins on their homecoming night as they knock off Urbana by a score of 56-0. The final score here from Normal Community High School this evening. So an impressive performance by the Ironmen from beginning to end. And Zach, can I see your score chart there real quick?
Yes.
We'll give a rundown here of everything that happened during the contest. And I'll get that last score, no problem, Zach. I got that. So for Normal Community, they do all the scoring tonight. Kyle Beatty had a couple of touchdown passes in the first couple minutes of the game. 42 yards to Michael Mavick, 30-yard touchdown to Reed Hoover. It was 14-0 Community, still 10-16 to go in the first quarter. Then it was Kalen Taylor time. Kalen had a couple of punt returns for a touchdown, a 60-yarder, and a 30-yarder, and Normal Community led 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. Jalen Smith found the end zone, 11:21 to go. Second quarter, 35-0. Ironman, a 27-yard swing pass. He takes it to the house for a touchdown. Pick six, Xavion Lashley found the end zone, 9:26 to go. Second quarter, 42-0 Ironman at that point. Noah Goley with a rushing touchdown made it 48-0 Normal Community. 7:44 to go before halftime. And then the last touchdown of the night. Actually, where another touchdown we had was, looks like Drengwitz caught one. Is that correct there, Zach? We had.
Yes, well, that was the two-point
That
conversion.
was the two-point conversion there. There we go. That was Micah Drengwitz that hauled that one in. That was 50-0 at that point. And then Ryder Durden took one in for 19 yards out. That was the last touchdown for the Ironmen. That made it 56-0. The extra point was no good on that one. And the Ironmen win it by a score of 56-0. Well, Coach Drengwitz talked about focus for the team this week. Obviously, looking at an opponent that probably was going to be overmatched. I think he got exactly what he wanted because it was quick and decisive early in the contest. They came out focused and they took care of business right away.
Yeah, I think what you said, he got exactly what he wanted. You know, he wanted a strong start, which Community got. He wanted them to put up a lot of points right off the bat. 35 points in 13 minutes. Being able to get 5 touchdowns in 13 minutes is incredibly impressive. Then you had, on the defensive side, they shut down the Tigers almost immediately, and they held them to 0. The first shutout for Community this season. They had 5 of those last season. First one, I talked to Coach Drengwitz a little bit about shutouts, and he kind of said it's more about, winning the football game and doing it together as a team, and I think they did both today. Obviously, they won the football game, but they did it together as a team with good sportsmanship, and they were able to get the shutout on top of that. A nice little cherry on top. He says it's a nice boost when you get to see that 0 on the board.
And once again, we'll be talking to Coach Drengwitz midweek. You can get all that on the Ink Spot, so make sure you tune in for that. They'll be gearing up for Kankakee. Zach, your thoughts real quick on the K's coming up in week 4.
You can never know, but it's shaping up to be a really good contest. You got a top 10 team in 7A, a top 10 team in 6A, and Kankakee's fast. They're really athletic. They're coming off a great season, as is Community, and I think it's just setting up and gearing up for a really exciting contest.
Yeah, it should be a good one there for from Kankakee a week from now. Bella Green was on video tonight. Thank you to her for all of her work. Lenora Rivas was on our board tonight. And also, always got to mention Mr. Brad Bovenkirk, who really, what did Mr. Bovenkirk do, Zach? He pretty much did everything tonight. So, ran the camera, set up the board, does everything, made us sound good, which that is a challenge. So, thank you to Mr. Brad Bovenkirk tonight for his hard work. Also, thank you to Dave Witzik for joining us in the third quarter. So, that's going to wrap things up from Dick Tharp Field tonight. Normal Community wins on homecoming, 56-0, the final score. And we will see you in 3 weeks here from Dick Tharp Field. For Zach Knox Doyle, I'm Joel Swanson saying so long from Normal Community High School. Enjoy the beats, everybody.